The book Norse Mythology Neil Gaiman reviews is exactly like the title says. It is about Norse mythology. Have you heard of it? You probably have, and you will be surprised at how similar Marvel's Avenger and Thor movies related closely to the stories in this book. The premise of Norse mythology is a retelling of the original text entitled Poetic Eddas. It focuses mostly on the adventure of the gods, Odin, Thor, and Loki. Gaiman has written his edition of the Norse myth for a popular audience. The language is a little more contemporary. Gaiman has included those myths that would have left out of a children's edition, and his writing reflects the modern concern a little more. But the myths are the original ones, if one can use that word. A more accurate phrasing would be to say that these are the oldest myths that we know of. As Gaiman points out, we may never know the original myths, or even if there ever was an original myth. There are a lot of interesting stories that are included in the book that I would love to show you, but sadly I don't have enough time to tell it all to you one by one. So, I choose some of the stories that I like the most for you to know more about Norse mythology. The story opens up quite hilariously where Loki shaves the head of Thor's wife, Sif, as a prank. Thor immediately assumes it was Loki who cut her hair off. Thor then goes off and threatens to torture Loki in the most severe way possible, forces Loki to remedy the problem. Like always in this book, Loki devises a quick plan to save his own neck. He goes to the most creative dwarfs to recreate Sif's golden hair even more beautiful. He even promised to have the dwarfs create treasures for all the gods. This is the story where Thor gets his famous hammer, Mjolnir. By the end, all the gods were pleased with Loki's performance in providing these gifts. The dwarf saves Loki from being crushed by Thor. The final three chapters form a nearly seamless narrative. The first of these chapters tells the story of the death of Balder, the most beloved of the gods. Balder is killed due to mischief caused by Loki. In the next chapter, Loki flees Asgard to escape punishment for his crime, but the gods eventually catches him and punishes him by killing Loki's son, and then imprisoning Loki for eternity. The final chapter tells of Ragnarok, the prophesied apocalypse of Norse mythology. Loki and his three remaining children escape their place of imprisonment and fight against the gods. Meanwhile, the world is consumed with fire. In the wake of all of this destruction, the World Tree breathes new life into the world, thus restarting the cycle of rebirth after the world's death. Although this book was not really what I was expecting after I read it, I was pleasantly surprised at how well researched and pieced together the old stories were. These are extremely old stories which Gaiman took and recreated in a modern novel format, keeping some of the original flow of writing. It is simple yet fun to read. Because of its simplicity, it is a book which will take you no time to get through.